So you're going to have people that you lead, they're not going to live up to the standard. They're not going to live up to the job description. You're going to be counting on them and they're going to let you down. And you're going to have to decide, do I want to have success or do I want to have someone to blame? Do I want to help them do something that I shouldn't have to? Or would I rather prove a point that my way is better? That's what you got to ask yourself. Do you want to win? Are you really committed to the results? Are you committed to your goal? Or you just want to be proven right? Welcome back to Increase. I'm Blake Anderson. Welcome to episode 48. Wherever you're watching, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you ever want to join us live, we film these live on Zoom and YouTube live Thursdays at noon. Hope you join me sometime. I'd like to meet you. I got some questions for you. If you're a leader out there and you're hopeful for more, I've got some serious questions for you. We're going to figure out how much you really want to see increase in your life and how much you want your business to grow. Let me ask you, how committed to your success are you? How important is the goal that you're after? What will you do if your team or a member on your team doesn't do their part? You see, really the question that I'm getting at, that I have to ask leaders very often, is do you want to win or do you want to prove a point? You see, I meet leaders often that have underperforming team members and they're frustrated with them and they want more for them, but they seem to give up and they expect this person to do something that they haven't been able to do. And though they say they want success, it seems to me like they want to prove a point that they're right more than they want to achieve the goal. So let me ask you, do you want to win? How bad do you want to win? How important is winning? How important is your success? Is it important enough to help your team get through the goal line? Or would you rather just be proven right while you're commiserating on your failure? So you're going to have people that you lead, they're not going to live up to the standard. They're not going to live up to the job description. You're going to be counting on them and they're going to let you down. And you're going to have to decide, do I want to have success or do I want to have someone to blame? Do I want to help them do something that I shouldn't have to? Or would I rather prove a point that my way is better? That's what you got to ask yourself. Do you want to win? Are you really committed to the results? Are you committed to your goal? Or you just want to be proven right? Because on your journey to success, likely you're going to face that question over and over and over again. And I'm going to tell you what, probably you won't be able to have both. You likely won't be able to win and prove your point at the same time. You're going to have to choose. How important is the victory? How important is this goal? Or would I rather just be known as the smartest person in the room? And that's a hard thing. But this is where we find out whether you're a strong leader or not, whether you're really committed to your goal, and whether I should trust you with the next assignment. So I'm going to give you just some descriptions of the character of a strong leader, the kind of leader that answers this question correctly, the kind of leader that brings results. And then I'm going to give you a tool. I'm going to give you some tactics for leading your team so that you can be one that says, I get results, rather than one that's always complaining about the people on your team who are underperforming. Someone who gets more out of their team rather than who's always trying to hire someone new. So if you are going to be a successful, effective leader, your character is going to have to look like this. You're going to have commitment. You're going to have to be committed to your goals. You're going to have to be committed to the assignment. You are going to have to be committed to success. Because it starts right there. You have to know what you want and you got to know why you want it. And you've got to be willing to do whatever it takes. The second thing is you're going to have determination. You're going to have to be determined to do whatever it takes to get there. So first you start by committing to what you want. And the second, you've got to resolve yourself with determination to do whatever it takes. But then the third thing, it's going to take humility. I don't care how strong of a leader you are, you will have to be humble. You'll have to be willing to look for strategies and tactics you've never tried before. You're going to have to be willing to change your plan. You're going to have to be willing to listen to your team members. You're going to have to be willing to put the goal and the team ahead of your success and ahead of your recognition. Because oftentimes you will not continue to achieve success long term as long as you have to be recognized all along the way. Fourth, the character of a leader that's able to lead their team success is you're going to have grace. You're going to have grace. Grace for the people on your team. Understanding that the best laid plans still have to be implemented by people. You're going to have grace to understand that each person brings a unique set of strengths and weaknesses to the table. And for all the strengths that they have weaknesses that have to be dealt with. And in order to utilize someone's strengths, you're going to have to deal with their weaknesses. But great leaders know how to lead their people into success, and they have grace for their weaknesses. They have grace for what's going on in their life. And they're able to get more out of people because they have compassion and empathy for their team. And then fourth, the best leaders are willing to get involved. The best leaders don't just have people do things for them. The best leaders don't just operate according to the job description. The best leaders are willing to roll up their sleeve and get down in the mud with the team when it's time to get the job done, when it's time to go the extra mile in the distance. And so I want to give you some tactics as a leader to get your team to win. And ultimately, we're answering this question. Do you want to win, or do you want to be proven right? I just had a call with some leaders who have some people that they're leading who are well-meaning, good-hearted people who seem to kind of miss the standard of what's agreed upon. And in their frustration, they'll often let these people fail, not realizing that when their team fails, they fail as well. Because you can never forget that the leader's success is in the hands of the team, but the team's success is the leader's responsibility. You see, you leader, you need your team, and that team needs you. And it's symbiotic, and you'll have to work together. So here's some tactics if you truly are committed to winning, and you want to win and you want to achieve your goal more than you want to be proven right, more than you want to prove your point. The first thing you've got to do as a leader is you've got to communicate. Clarity is of the utmost importance to a team that's trying to accomplish anything. No one can move confidently, competently, or achieve excellence and comprehensive success if they don't know what they're doing. You've got to describe what success looks like, and you've got to describe all the expectations. It's your job as a leader to communicate, to instill clarity amongst the team. Second thing as a leader is you've got to be willing to lead by example. Everyone's going to have different job descriptions and different responsibilities, but you as a leader have got to be willing to lead by example. You've got to realize that you can't hold anybody accountable to anything that you're not willing to do yourself. And trust me, if you're willing to blaze the trail, to hit the challenge head on, to come in early and work late, you're willing to not just set a standard, but live up to the standard that's been set for your team, then you will have a group and of followers on your team who are willing to follow you into success. Third tactic is you as a leader need to understand that it's up to you to train your people. Though you hope that you've hired people that have been trained, that have a resume and experience in what they offer, it's still up to you to train. Are you training them in a new tool? Are you training them in a new way? Are you training them into the company culture? You see, your success is in their hands. And so for you to be successful, they're going to have to be able to do more. And it's your job as the leader to train them. If someone's not able to live up to the standard, rather than complaining that they are not enough, you're going to have to be willing to train them. What is your responsibility in their performance? Your responsibility is that they know what's expected of them and that they're trained to do their job. And you have to take responsibility for that. The second thing, or the next thing you have to do along with training, is you've got to coach them as they implement. See, training and coaching are two different things. You got to train them in the skills they need, but just because someone is trained, you can't expect that they know exactly what to do. You can't expect that they can do everything perfectly after they've been given the list of criteria. You've got to be willing to coach them as they implement the things you've trained them on. That's where that grace and that humility is going to have to kick in. You're going to have to be willing to walk with them as they learn new habits, as they learn new protocols, as they stop doing some of the things that you're correcting them from. The next thing you've got to be willing to do is there has to be built-in accountability to your leadership. Built-in accountability. And my recommendation is that you have regular check-ins, that you either have regular meetings or regular calls where you're reviewing the results, or you're reviewing the tactics that they're using. And it's built-in accountability. You don't want to be a leader who only calls someone when there's something wrong, who only brings them into your office when they want to reprimand, who only schedules a call to correct someone. You need to build in accountability to everything that you do so that you're constantly working as a team to make the small adjustments and corrections to get better results. The way your team functions needs to be like a GPS on a plane. Did you know that when a plane leaves Los Angeles flying to Hawaii and it's flying over the ocean, it's off course 90% of the time? Why is that? Well, the wind is always blowing that plane around. But what the GPS does is the GPS makes micro corrections all along the way. It doesn't just correct when they've flown 6 hours only to find out that they're in Japan and they have to turn back. It doesn't fly 3 hours halfway only to check in and find out that they're 5 hours behind schedule because the wind blew them off. No, the GPS is a constant check-in. It constantly checks to see if adjustment needs to be made. The same needs to be with your leadership. You see, when you build in this accountability into your meetings and into your process, then people can make these micro corrections that don't require reprimands, that don't require being written up, that don't require demotions. Instead, these micro corrections is a form of training, coaching, and equipping your team members. So don't be afraid to have accountability built in. Ask someone, how's it going? Are you able to do the tactic? What was your results last week? Build that in. Then you become a team member alongside of the person you're holding accountable, and you are committing to their success and helping them get there. No longer do they see you as an adversary. Instead, you are a friend, you are a counselor, you are a guide that they can trust. Wouldn't you rather them call you when things weren't going well and ask for your advice on how to get them back on track than you get to the deadline only to find out that they had failed? See, again, I have to ask you, what are you more committed to? The goal or proving your point? See, if you're committed to the result, if you're committed to success, then it's not about proving to anyone that you know best. It's about helping them get across the goal line. It's about helping the team succeed. And the reality is the best leaders understand that to get someone to really buy into a plan and to get them to be willing to commit to anything long term, you've got to get their commitment, not just yours. And to get someone, the best way to get someone's commitment is when they're committing to their idea, not committing to your idea. You see, if you've got to prove a point that you're right and they're wrong, they might nod their head, but I wouldn't expect that they've truly committed in their heart to the result that you've asked them to perform to. So built-in accountability is extremely important, and it's an important tactic. And so in our business, I have weekly meetings with our large team. We have weekly meetings with individual teams. And then I have weekly calls with my primary leaders, along with weekly strategy sessions amongst the executive leadership. Not because I love meetings, but because I understand the importance of the regular check-in. Constant correction is a team approach. It's not a reprimand. So we're working together as we're making improvements together. And then finally, the tactic that you're going to have to embrace if you're truly committed to winning is you realize sometimes you're just going to have to help. Sometimes you're going to have to get your hands on the project. Sometimes you're going to have to come off of your throne and get down on the playing field alongside of the playmakers who are making it happen. Now, I understand what you're thinking. You've helped people before, and it was more enabling than it was empowering. So let's talk about that for a second. Because there's a real difference between helping and micromanaging. See, we want to help someone in a way that they learn how to do something for themselves. We don't want to micromanage. And at the same time, we don't want to let them fail. So we could micromanage someone, directing their every step, in which case they never learn anything because it's not their idea, or we've done the work for them, or we completely take a hands-off approach and we let them fail and we point out their flaws once they've failed. We have to find a balance in the middle where we're not micromanaging, where we're not doing it for them, but we're also not letting them fail in the process. In our help, we've got to do it with them, not for them. So as a leader, sometimes you're going to have to do some work alongside of people. And yes, it's their job description. And yes, they're getting paid for it. And yes, it's taking time away from the things that you need to be doing. But we go back to think, how committed to this result am I? Am I committed enough to coach them through the implementation? Understanding that some of the coaching means I've got to get down there with them and help, because some people learn best when you show them. Some people learn best when you do it with them. Some people learn best when a coach's eye is watching their every move, when they feel your support and they gain the confidence to know that what they've done is working and that you approve of it and it will lead them to success. So yes, you're going to have to help. Yes, you're going to have to take time out of your schedule. Yes, it's going to mean extra phone calls. Yes, it's going to feel like you're doing someone else's job. But if you do it right, then your help will be a form of training and coaching that will empower them to finally start doing their job and their role to the standard that you want for them. Now, that's a hard thing, I realize, because you might have people on your team that do their job excellent. They don't need anything from you. And you're just thinking, gosh, if I could just get more of those people, then we'd be rolling. Maybe you should. Maybe there's some people that you shouldn't help. You should just fire them. But I think there's a lot more people that if you'd give them the time, if you'd commit some resources, and you would get down on the ground with them and get in the dirt with them, that they would learn, that they would do better, that they could be a successfully contributing member of your team. So I just want to recap with this question. Simple concept, but you got to ask yourself, do you want to win, or do you want to prove your point? And you should ask yourself that every time you have frustration with a team member. Do I want to just prove my point here? Do I just want to be known as the smartest person in the room, but have to swallow the fact that I never get good results? Or do I want to be known as the winner, the leader that everybody wants to follow, the leader that the team members go the extra mile for? Because I'm known as someone who communicates clearly. I'm known as someone who leads by example, because you're known as someone who's willing to train the team in everything that you expect of them. You're known as someone who will coach them through the implementation. You'll take that extra time because you're known as someone who does hold them accountable to the standard, but does it in a way that gives them the chance to make micro corrections to success, and known as someone who's willing to help. See, those are the tactics of a winning team. That's the tactics of a winning leader. So next time you're frustrated, ask yourself that question. Do I want to win here? Or I just want to be proven right? And I think when you realize what the right thing to do is for the company, for the client, for your boss, for your team, you'll realize that you want to win and you need to help your team. Because as a leader, you understand that your success is in the hands of your team and their success is your responsibility. So join me next time, leaders, as we learn to increase. I'm Blake Anderson. I'll see you next episode.